What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nash, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my paycheck routine that I do every 2 weeks when I get paid. Now you can apply this to any payment that you get. Maybe you get paid once a month, twice a month, every week. You can apply the same method. Now if you are someone who has financial goals, or you want to be financially successful or responsible, you need to keep track of every dollar. So when I graduated from college, I adopted this budgeting style called a zero bottom line budget, where you keep track of every dollar until it goes down to zero, right? So you know exactly where the money's going. So that is how you're going to be able to keep track of your money and be able to know how much you're saving, how much you're investing, how much you're spending. Now, I've tried using a lot of budgeting apps when I was in college, when I graduated, but those tend to be, they're limited unless you subscribe to, the pro plan, which is the taking money out of your pocket. So I tend to stay away from those budgeting apps because, they tend to be complicated, and, sometimes you have to pay for better features. But I'm a Microsoft Excel guy. I use this for, my work. So I just created that budget in there. I'm going to be showing you this on the screen, and let me know if you guys want a copy of this in the comment section below, and I'll put a download link to the same copy that I'm going to be showing you within this video. Now, what I do is, when you get paid, usually it comes in at night. You're probably asleep at midnight, maybe little past midnight. That morning, I have a ritual that I do, which is going to be plugging in the numbers into this budgeting template that I use, right? Now, this is a zero bottom line budget that allows me to keep track of every dollar. So I'm going to break this down. Anyone can use this. This is not advanced. This is just kind of like a cash flow method, right? You're looking at how much money is coming in and how much is going out. And the goal is to break even, right? To get it to zero. So let me go ahead and put it on the screen so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so if you look on the far left side of the screenshot that's on the screen right now, is you see that the first little box is going to be for income, money that is coming in, right? So when I get paid, that's maybe every 2 weeks or maybe every month. You see that there's three different jobs. Those are three different streams of income. And these are generic numbers, by the way. That's not how much money I make. But the first job, you can see that is, the 9 to 5, the main job. And you get that and you just plug that in there. It's like $1,800. And then you also have job 2, maybe a side hustle that you do. You plug that in there as well. And then job number 3, you plug that in there as well. Okay. Now you have your total income, right? This is how much you're making, right? That's before any types of expenses. Now, the next box is going to be the fixed expenses. So fixed expenses are expenses that you need to have those expenses in order to have a shelter, to have food, in order to, be able to drive a car, in order to be insured, right? These are, things like rent, electricity, car payments, insurance, groceries as well, because you need to eat. So you can see that on this chart here. The groceries are, there's these are for 2 weeks, right? So you can even look at the amounts here. You see rent is the most. And one tip I'll give you when it comes to rent is going to be get a roommate, right? Especially if you just graduated from college, get a roommate and you can split that rent in half, right? Which is what I do. I have a roommate and I split that rent in half, and it reduces that amount by a lot of money. So you can look at some of the expenses on here. So I don't really have a lot of fixed expenses, but you can see that they all total $1,400. Now we go to variable expenses. These are expenses that I can cut off if I want to. You can see that a lot of these things on here are subscriptions, right? Because, I like to listen to my Spotify. I listen to a lot of podcasts on Spotify. I like using Amazon Prime, because when you have Amazon Prime, you also have Amazon Video, which means that you get to watch all the Amazon, movies on Amazon Video. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1 deal. And I also have other subscriptions on here, and also have drinks. I like to drink beer, so I kind of like budget $50 for every 2 weeks, even though I usually don't spend all of it, but that's kind of like the budget, right? Now you also have, eating out, which I rarely do, but I usually budget $100 for that, right? You can see that all my variable expenses are less than $200, right? Sometimes it might be a little more if I eat out a little extra. Now, the next one is going to be savings and investments. So this is where you're going to put all your savings accounts. So for me, you can see that I only have one savings account that I put on here. Now you can have multiple. You can have an emergency savings account. You can have a vacation savings account. You can have, savings account to put a down payment on a house. So you can have as many as you want. And you can see that I have a Roth IRA contribution on here. I also have an individual investment investment account on here, and I have amounts in there. On the bottom here, you can see that I have my net income, and this equals to 0. So you get this number by subtracting your income from, if you go back to the far left side, you see that we have our total income that we have, then you subtract all the expenses and investments and savings, it goes down to 0. So this means I've allocated every single dollar to something. Now, does that mean that it's always going to be accurate? Sometimes you're probably going to spend more on those variable expenses, right? Or you might spend less, right? There's weeks that I go without even eating out or buying any drinks. If I have any extra money because I didn't use the $100 that I've budgeted for eating out, or I didn't use the whole $200 that I was budgeting for groceries, maybe I spent $180. So now I have a little extra money. Where does that money go? So the easy thing that I usually do is I just send it to the savings account, or I leave it in a checking account. And sometimes it tends to grow over time if you're someone who's always under budget, right? So if every 2 weeks you budget $200 to get groceries, but then they cost you $150, now you have an extra $50 every 2 weeks, right? That you have. So it grows over time. And sometimes I'll just put that in an investment account, or I'll leave that in the checking account. And then over time, I also adjust my my budget template here. Instead of budgeting $200 for groceries, I can notice a trend that my groceries are actually $180, so I can adjust that. The goal is to be able to allocate every single dollar, and I do this every 2 weeks. Every time I get a paycheck, I have to be able to allocate the money, to know where it's going, to know, what it's doing. I have to be able to do that. I know a lot of people that do it monthly, but sometimes it's easy to forget or to miscalculate things. But if you do it with every paycheck and you know exactly where it's going, I feel like that's going to give you a really, really good grip on reality, on where your money is going, and on your savings accounts. If your main goal is to save, then you can reduce money that you're putting in investment accounts. You can, focus more on saving. And if you notice on the template, there is no, deductions for medical insurance or 401k. That's because that money is taken before I get the paycheck. So there's no need for me to keep track of that money, right? Because that's not what's being handed to me. I'm keeping track of how much is in my bank account. So yeah, so that is pretty much it when it comes to my paycheck routine. And one thing I'll recommend is you need to make this a tradition. You need to make this a ritual. Every time you get paid, you need to be able to allocate every dollar. You got to be able to do that. That is going to make you save so much money, and you can always readjust your budgeting template according to where you're spending most of your money, and where you're not spending most of your money, and where you're trying to spend most of your money. So that is pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any different ideas, I'm open to hearing those in the comment section below. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.